quite frankly, I've got better things to do than to try to get revenge on narcissists. The reason is they have offended so many people. They make so many enemies over their lives that I don't have to. What's more, the narcissist, as I like to point out often, is his or her own worst enemy. They do more to damage themselves than I could ever do, that I would even be willing to do. A narcissist that I know live miserable lives. They do things to themselves just so they can spite other people. And I wouldn't hurt these people that way. A lot of them are out of work. They don't have a place to live. They have all kinds of problems. So, I don't need to get revenge. So you may say, well, why did you call the video that? Well, because I couldn't think of a better term, to be honest with you. But the idea is, how do you respond, not just react, but how do you respond to a narcissist where he or she basically has no longer control or effect on you? They just don't bother you anymore. Number one is just be happy. And when I say be happy is just be content. And the reason this works so well in, quote, getting revenge, unquote, on the narcissist is because that's the last thing they want, is for you to be content, for you to be happy. They want you to be more miserable than they are. And one of the ways they feed their ego, you don't get that supply, is by making other people miserable, by making other people discontent or discontented. So they want to make you discontented because that proves to them they are in control, because they are doing this to you. Just be happy. I mean, understand what they're doing, and don't get involved in their trauma, their drama, their manipulation. Send this message that I can be happy with you, or I can be happy without you. Number two is imply that the narcissist is irrelevant. Again, I can be happy with the narcissist, and I can be happy without the narcissist. The narcissist doesn't want you to think that you can be happy with him or her. If you are around them, you have to be happy only because you are around them, but otherwise you should be feeling very discontent with your life. Now, this is kind of like a one-person cult, because this is what cults do. They want you to be unhappy with your life outside the cult. And only when you're inside the cult can you find true happiness. And once you're inside the cult, rather, they make you feel unhappy and happy. Trauma, drama, trauma, bonding. The narcissist, again, is just a one-person cult. They play this game with you, but they want to make sure that you understand that it may be bad with a narcissist, but it's much worse without them. That's just not true. So imply, let them know. They're just not relevant to your happiness one way or the other. Number three is they hate this. They hate it when you question them. So if a narcissist says something that is not true, question them. Ask them about it. I mentioned that in another video. A narcissist doesn't think he or she is ever wrong, or at least they'll never admit it, put it that way. And they certainly don't want you to admit they're wrong, because if you admit they're wrong, if you tell them they're wrong, what you were telling them is they are somehow, in their way of thinking, lesser than you. Lesser than, well, everybody. And the fact of the matter is they are lesser than probably most people. They don't want to be reminded of that. Deep down inside, they know it. Or maybe skin deep, they know it. Number four is do what I call return the shame. And that is be a mirror. I like to mirror narcissists. Whatever they do, it's not like you're repaying them. If they steal from you, you steal from them, or they lie about you, you lie about them. I'm not talking about that kind of a mirror. But what I'm saying is reflect what they're doing back to them. Another way of saying that is just call them out. If a narcissist does something that's out of line, just ask him, why did you do that? Why did you say that? Why are you questioning this? Why are you bad-mouthing this person? Why are you going on this smear campaign against this other person or against me? So return the shame, be a mirror, reflect it right back at them. Number five is I like to educate myself. I like to be aware. I had no idea when I was victimized by narcissists. I had no idea what narcissism really was. I mean, I heard the term. I kind of had an idea that it meant arrogant, just synonymous with arrogant, but I didn't understand how deep that rabbit hole went. The same thing is true of psychopathy. So I began to study psychopathy. What's his name? Robert Hare wrote a book on it. You ought to read that book too. The traits of a psychopath, which are fairly much aligned with the traits of a narcissist. So educate yourself. That's what I do. I like to just be aware of people's behavior in general, particularly those people like narcissists who can and will hurt me and other people. Number 6, narcissists hate it when you ignore them. Just don't talk to them, or if you do talk to them, make it short, sweet, and again, you're emphasizing by ignoring them that they are irrelevant. They don't have a place in your life. No significant place in your life whatsoever. Narcissists like to be, and this may sound a little weird, but they like to be in control. Therefore, they want you to be out of control. So if you are out of control, that implies to the narcissist in his or her warped way of thinking that they are in control. So they want you to be out of control. Just ignore them. They know you're in control. They see it. And what are they going to do? Well, chances are they're going to go away and try to find somebody else to bother. Number 7 is be confident. They will accuse you of arrogance. That's a way of putting you down. It's another form of reflecting themselves back at you. That's called projection. So they are arrogant, so they're going to accuse you of arrogance. And that, by the way, is why they criticize you. Because they see your confidence and they want to tear down your confidence so they can be in control. So they can get the supply. The supply, again, is anything that feeds their ego. Number 8, this is a big one, is don't believe them. Question them. We talked about that before. But don't believe anything a narcissist says. Now, I got a problem. In that I'm gullible. I'm naive. I believe people. Used car salesman tells me this car will never break down for 100,000 miles. You could drive it to Florida and back. Unless you live in Florida, then it's going to moot. But you can drive this car to California and back 10 times. And silly me, I believe him. Well, I've learned to get over that. In 70 plus years, I've learned a thing or two, and that is, by and large, you can't believe people. Even honest people can be wrong. Some people, they don't intend to be wrong, but often they are because they're human. Well, narcissists are wrong because they're pathological liars. But if you don't know they're a narcissist, how do you know to not believe them? Well, I just understand that all people are wrong. There is nobody who is right all the time. I don't even agree with myself because I change my mind. Everybody changes their mind, so everybody admits in changing their mind that they were wrong, even though they will not say they were wrong often. So the point is, don't believe them. Another way to say, as we mentioned in number 3, is question them. So just don't believe. Once you understand this is a narcissist, just assume that everything comes out of his mouth is to be disbelieved until proven otherwise. Kind of the opposite, innocent until proven guilty. With a narcissist, assume guilty until proven innocent. Liar until proven otherwise. Number 9 is just don't play their games. They're going to borrow money from you. They're going to ask you for rides, do favors for them. They want you to do things for them, and when you play their game, what happens is, by doing things for them, what happens is subconsciously, psychologically, in your mind, you got to explain to yourself why you're being so kind and helpful to the narcissist. And so you justify it by saying, well, he's not that bad of a guy, and he has some needs, and I'm helping him out. What you're doing is you are elevating the narcissist by helping him out in your mind, and you don't even realize it. Benjamin Franklin mentioned this a long time ago. There was some guy who didn't like him, and so he asked this guy if he could borrow a book. And the guy loaned him the book, and then the guy liked him. And Benjamin Franklin rather explained the reason he liked him is he had to justify being kind to him by loaning him the book. So there's nothing wrong with doing people favors. In fact, it's a good strategy, so they will like you and you can like them. But when it comes to a narcissist, the exact opposite is true. So when I'm around narcissists, I try my best not to be polite. I like to be polite. It just comes second nature to me, and it's hard for me not to be polite. So I may not be rude. I may not be obnoxious. I don't want to be, but I don't have to be polite either. So I just kind of be neutral. So don't play their games. Number 10 is never ever apologize to a narcissist, because, the narcissist says you're wrong and he wants you to admit you're wrong, and he wants to say that you were wrong by apologizing. And if you admit that you're wrong enough, you will come to believe that you're wrong, even when you're right. Number 11 is don't be gaslighted. This is kind of the same thing, but the narcissist will have you to believe that you have some kind of a fault. Your fault is you're not highly intelligent, you're kind of dumb, you're not talented, you don't have ability, you should not be in a management position. Your opinions don't count because, you're just one of those people that doesn't have good ideas. All of these are forms of gaslighting to make you think less of yourself than what you really are. So when the narcissist gaslights you, just stay away from them. Number 12, dox him. By that I mean get documentation. I often say that when you're around a narcissist or anybody, keep records of what happens. Get a video camera, maybe. If it's legal in whatever jurisdictions you happen to live in, take notes, remember things that happen. Once you understand you're dealing with a person who is a narcissist or a psychopath, that is so important. But also, you dox people by court records or doing a search on the internet. You may be amazed at what you find when you start searching into court records. Go down to the county courthouse and ask the clerk's office, how do I do research on an individual? They should tell you because it's public record. And if they don't tell you, maybe you should maybe call a lawyer. That involves expense, but hey, is it worth it? I don't know. But dox them, get documentation. The reason being, a narcissist does not just abuse one person. They abuse anybody and everybody because that's where they get their supply. So, what they're doing to you, they've done to other people, and what they've done to other people, they've left a trail. Sometimes they've left a paper trail, particularly if they've committed crimes, like not paying a bill, or writing bad checks, or not paying their rent, or, the list is endless. So let's tie all this together. What we're talking about here is really kind of simple. If we could reduce this to the ridiculous, it would be just respect yourself, and then the narcissist can't touch it. It's kind of like the kryptonite, what's the word? This empowers the narcissist. Just respect yourself, and then there's nothing he or she can take away from you. There's a red dot on the screen. Click on it, and you can be a part of our YouTube channel, part of our YouTube family. Don't forget to click the bell so you get notifications. There should be a rectangle lower left-hand corner. Click on that to access our video library, and keep on watching as long as you want, and we'll see you all next time.